All right, everybody. Hello, hello. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. Can we go ahead and get started? All right, so thanks again for joining us at the 2024 Sloan Sports Analytics Conference. We're here in the Competitive Advantage Room, presented by Kager Craft Analytics Group. My name is Grant Anhorn, and I'm a first-year MBA student at the MIT Sloan School of Management. And it's my pleasure to introduce this amazing presentation, How the Orlando Magic Built a Data-Driven Strategy, Maximize Yield, and Prepare for a Growing Demand. Our amazing presenter is going to be Allie Anderson, Director of Business Strategy for the Orlando Magic. And with that, I'll welcome her to the stage.
Some technical difficulties, but I think we got there. Almost. I'm assuming we're going to get the slides in just a second. So happy to be here. Great to see some familiar faces that I've already gotten to say hi to a lot of you. It's been 4 years. There we go. I don't have to improvise. It's been 4 years since I've been to Sloan, which is crazy, and we're in 2024, so if you do the math, I was last here in 2020. So that flight home from Boston was pretty much like the last normal thing that happened for a really long time before the world shut down. But a lot of exciting things have happened in the last 4 years, at least for me personally. I did what a lot of people did during the pandemic, and I adopted a COVID puppy. I don't know if anyone else did that. I've had 2 kids, I bought a house, so a lot has happened for me personally in the last 4 years, and a lot of excitement has also happened for the Orlando Magic. And a lot of this technical difficulty was so I could show you this video, and I want to see if you can recognize this moment. Well, we had audio, but just picture a ton of screaming, crazy Magic fans. So this was May 17th, 2022. This was the NBA Draft Lottery. This was a watch party in downtown Orlando. This was our Magic fans finding out that the Magic got the #1 draft pick for that season. But this isn't my favorite video from the night, and without audio, I don't know if this is going to translate, but I just wanted to show this one as well. There we go. Can anyone guess who's in that second video? That's right. That's the dream, right? Like when you work for professional sports, like you get the #1 draft pick or you get that superstar trade, your job's pretty much over, right? You just answer some phone calls, you raise ticket prices, you sell out tickets. That's it, right? Not exactly. And what I'm going to talk about today is less about what we've done since this draft lottery, and more about what we didn't do and what we learned when we were in a similar position quite a while ago. So we've had a couple number 1 draft picks, and it's great when that translates and your team has an awesome run, when you make it to the finals. I'm not going to name names, but when we had one of these #1 draft picks leave us in 2012, at the time, we were what the league would consider a very healthy ticket-based mix. We had that 10,000 season ticket plans that everyone considers healthy. You sell the rest out as like singles, maybe a couple groups here and there. But what happens when that superstar leaves and your demand situation and team performance drastically changes? Suddenly you're left in a position to figure out how to fill the building when the performance on the court isn't what you hope. So we learned a lot as an organization from that, and we did a lot of work and innovation to build back our base, to get attendance back up. And so when this came around again, it was less about what are we going to do, it was about what we're not going to do. But a lot of good did happen. So fast forward a month later, we did have the #1 draft pick. Paolo Banchero joined the team. And a lot of good has come of that. We've broken a ton of attendance records, most recently in December. We've grown gate year over year 30%. We're right now averaging 3 times the league average in year over year growth. And attendance is up 10%. So all really good stories there. Right now we've had 21 sellouts. I think last season we had 20 for the whole season. So things are looking really good. But I want to talk about how we got some of these results, and it wasn't just about answering those phone calls and selling out season tickets. One, that would leave money on the table, and two, we wanted to be able to optimize all of the programs that we've put in place over the last 10 years. So I first want to talk about what our department looks like, because I can't take credit for nearly any of this on my own. And I'm super lucky to have joined the Magic a little over 6 years ago now to an already very well-established, well-respected analytics program. I joke that our founding fathers, or Jay Riola, a lot of you guys know, still leads our department, but him, along with Anthony Perez and David Bench, who might be in this room, really created the foundation of what our department is today. And we're a pretty large group on professional sports standards, but I think what's really cool is that we not only have the business strategy and the analytics, but we also have the parts of the business that can actually activate that data. So we work with our innovation team to create new products, create new ways that we can sell to our fans, and then we leverage our digital marketing team to actually action upon that. Create promotions, send the emails, create these lifecycle journeys based on the data and insights from our business strategy team. So where did this all start? So this kind of reads like a vintage postcard, even though this wasn't that long ago. I lost my slides here. We'll make it work. So this all started back in 2010 with the opening of Amway Center. And why this was so transformative is this was really the first time that we had access to a lot of the ticketing data. So Amway Arena, and I know I said Amway Center, we're now Kia Center, but at the time, Amway Center opened in 2010, and Amway Arena was paper tickets, cash only, no Wi-Fi. So the opening of Amway Center gave us this first chance to really tap into all of this data, store it, and then action upon it. So I know there's a lot of people in this room who are kind of interested in this slide. You'll recognize a lot of these partners. So over the last now almost 14 years, we have integrated all of these different technology partners and vendors and softwares into our data landscape, and a lot of this has grown over time, so this doesn't happen from day one. So we have all of these systems and, of course, social data, and this all flows into our analytics infrastructure. So for us, AWS is kind of the landing point of all of this data reception, and then it goes into our Snowflake data warehouse. And we use SAS along with other open source analytic tools, but for reporting, modeling, advanced analytics, et cetera. So our journey, it hasn't happened overnight, and I'm not going to talk about each one of these, but it has been ongoing from data capture with the opening of Amway Center to creating a warehouse, activating business intelligence, start creating predictive analytics, primarily for ticketing, but also for things like customer retention, which has to go somewhere to activate on a sales and service side. So CRM came along, marketing automation, so bringing in that digital marketing piece, which brings us to mobile, omni-channel marketing, so connecting all of those marketing channels together through app, email, web, et cetera, and cloud modernization, which we were probably a little bit late to this. If you think about 2010, we had an on-premise SQL Server, and that doesn't make sense anymore. So 2020, we undertook our cloud modernization. Why is all of this important? Well, this allows us to activate a lot of the analytics that led us to where we are today. So we're going to talk about a couple of use cases with revenue management, predictive analytics, product development, and inventory management. And these are all the systems and programs and analytics that we've put into place over the last 10 years to basically prepare us for success today. So revenue management, still don't have slides here. It's all right, we're going to do a little box here. Revenue management, variable pricing, this is a no-brainer, right? In 2010, we introduced ticket tiers. We used to have 7, now we have 5. And this became super apparent, especially around this time, because of the secondary market. So we used to sell ticket books to season ticket members, and every ticket had the same price, but that's not obviously the demand price. So introducing variable price helped us to respond to that and more accurately price our tickets based on the demand. And you can just see here the illustration of the relationship between revenue for those games and the number of games in each game tier. So a tier 1 game is about 2.5 times the average revenue of a tier 3 or an average game. So for us, like Lakers would be a tier 1 game, and our preseason would be a tier 5 game. Next came our relational pricing structure, and this is really where we started to diversify the different ticket products that we were selling. So as we realized we needed to build back tickets in attendance, we did that through other ticketing products. So partial plans, groups, and for us, tourism is a huge aspect of that, and obviously season ticket members and preserving their 20% discount, if not more, off of starting gate. So we use this relational pricing structure dependent on the product. So for groups, we're trying to drive volume to those bottom tier games. For partial plans, they're oftentimes some of our better inventory, so we give them a little bit more incentive in those top tier games to buy those higher yield products. And then dynamic pricing. So shout out to Ticketmaster for hosting us today, but we've been longtime partners and believers in the Price Master tool and have used it a very long time to dynamically price our tickets. So we like to say when we go on sale, you try to be the least wrong you can with your prices, and then you immediately see how wrong you are based on sell-through, conversion, page views. So we heavily leveraged our dynamic pricing strategy to start increasing and decreasing prices as it makes sense. So we sell a ton of tickets at a dynamic price, so not the starting price at on sale. And really what came into play in 2016 for us was tying together that dynamic pricing to relational pricing. So if we're making a price change on an individual ticket, we want that to carry over to our other ticketing products. So you don't get to score a really great deal on a partial plan if suddenly that game is worth a lot more. So the relationship between dynamic and relational pricing became really important for us to be able to maximize the two. All right, moving into predictive analytics. So we make a lot of predictions and forecasts, and we can kind of categorize them into two different areas. So we have our game level predictions and our customer level predictions. For games, this has to do with a lot with how we manage revenue and inventory, making predictions about ticket demand around when our schedule comes out, predicting game attendance and page views so we can make decisions on how much inventory to hold and how to make price changes. Customer level predictions, a lot of this is tied to retention, to prospect scoring, to what types of products we can recommend to someone based on the information that we know about them. But the one I want to call your attention to is this likelihood to renew. So this is primarily our predictive renewal model, and it's funny timing today, I think, is our deadline to opt out for season tickets, so it'll be really interesting to see where we shake out. But this is a model that we use to predict someone's likelihood to renew, which helps us with revenue modeling and decide how to campaign off of those customers who are at a greater risk to not renew. So this is a summarized preview of what that looks like over the last couple of years. So you can see a general variable importance here. And what I want to call your attention to, obviously tenure, that's super important. If you've been with us for 30 years, you're probably going to renew. The next two are you attending our bottom games? So are you attending the games that have pretty low demand? Like that's a good indicator that you're a Magic fan, you're engaged, you're gonna come back. And then ticket utilization. So you can see in the decision tree when you have ticket utilization of less than 78%, your renewal rate drops. So why that's so important, so the scenario I was mentioning before, when team performance drops, ticket utilization is gonna go down. And we also hear the objection from our sales team is that, you know, when team performance is bad, trying to sell 41 games is a task. So our response to this insight, both from the predictive renewal model and research that we do in sales, is to innovate. So what came out of that in 2014 was our seat return program. And now it's very cleanly integrated into the Ticketmaster SDK and account manager, which we love. At the time, it was kind of old school, but what this allows you to do is any season ticket member can return any seat or any ticket except for preseason for the full face value of that ticket. And they earn that back in a currency called Magic Money that they can then spend back on additional tickets, seat upgrades, they could upgrade to the floor, they could buy club seats, they could just buy additional tickets for their friends. They can spend that in our app marketplace on experiences, they can spend it on concessions or on merchandise. So this was our response. You can see the timing of this was a couple of years after losing that player in 2012, and this was really our response to that. If ticket utilization is a problem for you, great, return half your tickets, return 10 tickets. And we always get a lot of looks when we talk about this program. It's like, well, how does this make sense financially? Well, those tickets that we get back, we're then able to resell at the individual game price, which we know is going to be 20 to 30% more than the season ticket member price. So this has been a great program for us. They can also re-spend that magic money on experiences that don't have a cost, which is awesome. And this is still a program that we use today, and I'll talk an example about how we use that also in a more higher demand situation, but this is still one of our season ticket holders' favorite benefits that they have. So more product development. This was also around the same time period. So our Fast Break Pass program, this was our non-seat specific ticket that we're essentially selling that gives us a ton of flexibility. So we sell a very inexpensive pass that you don't get your seat location until 2 hours before tip. So this is an inventory that we have to sell or put into a hold. We can just let inventory ride, and we'll know how many passes we're going to need to fulfill. But we've had this on a full season basis, on a monthly subscription basis. We've basically been able to leverage this program over the years, kind of to fit whatever demand situation that we're in. This is also a great pipeline. This is an entry-level product that hopefully you could upgrade into a full membership. But this has been an awesome program that still exists today in different iterations. Another flexible ticketing product that we introduced, this was solving for a problem during COVID where we had no idea what our situation was going to be in coming out of the bubble. We didn't know how many games we were going to play, how many seats we would have available. We ended up having those pods that were like a nightmare to figure out. But the flexible ticketing bank let us sell these ticket bank packages to people who wanted to come to games, who wanted the flexibility to decide how many tickets to attend. This is a product we're not going to be focusing on as much going forward because we have other products that give us a higher yield, but just an example of how we use innovation to create products depending on our current needs. So what does all that mean for today? So what are we still doing with all of these programs to optimize the demand situation that we're in? So we're still using dynamic pricing. Makes sense. We are still making price changes to optimize our inventory, being very strategic with how we're pricing tickets based on the sales timing cycle and what is happening on the secondary market. And we've learned a lot in the last 10 plus years on how to use this. If you make a price decrease and no one knows about it, it's kind of meaningless. So we're a lot more strategic now with how we use increases and decreases as it relates to our marketing plan. Promotion. So this is an example of how we're still using our Magic Money program to benefit us now. So this was the game that we retired Shaq's jersey, which was awesome. The game easily sold out way too early, and we were out of inventory. So we offered our season ticket holders an extra 50% back if they gave us their tickets back, and it worked. We got a little less than 100 seats back, but we were able to then resell that at a much higher rate as an individual game ticket during that run-up. So just another example of how we're leveraging current programs that exist to meet our needs today. Inventory management, this is one that has become extremely important in this season, and we work with managed pricing with Ticketmaster to do this. And one of the most valuable lessons we've learned this season is to hold that inventory for your run-up. It feels great to be sold out a couple weeks out, but you're leaving money on the table. So with inventory management, we're really scrutinizing how many seats we have held in our back pocket to start release during that run-up when we know we can maximize yield. So still doing inventory management and being very thoughtful about how many seats we're releasing, how many we're holding, based on where we're timed in the run-up cycle. And lastly, good old-fashioned advertising. But more analytically informed. So looking at games that have a high yield, that are a little far out of the traditional run-up cycle, but have a really good return on ad spend. So just another way that we're using data to try to push those higher yield games and products. So how do we future-proof and make sure that all the programs we put in place put us in a position to not only be successful this season, but also in the future when you never know what's going to happen with team performance in your demand situation. So we're going to continue to launch new products. These aren't new, but they're new to us. Looking at specific 10 and 20 game partial plan packages, if you put all these together, they have a higher yield than those season ticket prices. So that's why we're looking at which price codes should we sell these plans compared to season tickets to maximize that yield. We're going to continue to review our tier discounts to make sure that the discount you get as a partial plan holder or a group holder makes sense for our current demand situation. This inventory mix optimization that we spoke about, just making sure that down to the price code level, we're selling the right product to the right person at that price code for the long-term yield. And then just continuing to learn and adjust. Not only can your team performance change, but how your fans want to engage with you, the products that they want to purchase and the experience that they want to have, we need to continue to learn and adjust based on that. So I think we're just about up on time. So thank you guys so much for your time.
Hi, Ali. This was great. I was curious, what tools from a data visualization standpoint are you guys currently using? And then are there integrations directly with Ticketmaster and things of that sort that you're actually deriving these insights from?
That's a great question. So the question was about data visualizations, and we have a kind of a custom hybrid approach. So for a long time, we were using SSAC's reporting portal, and then wanted to make them prettier. So we have some analysts who put basically HTML overlays on top of those reports to make them more interactive. Now, as our department's grown, there's just been preferences. The CRM team likes using Tableau. We have our BI engineering that has been exploring QuickSight through AWS. So we are basically in the process of creating a website portal application that connects all of these together. So to not force any of our teams to use one specific application. And we do receive a lot of the raw data from Ticketmaster, from PriceMaster, to look at how many secondary postings there are, what are the page views on each individual event where all of our games, so that helps us make decisions about price increases and decreases. Yeah, so we try to incorporate that the best we can in our forecast for individual games.
First of all, thank you so much. It was a great talk. Super interested about kind of on this slide, the inventory mix optimization long term. Obviously a pretty complex thing to kind of think through. And so curious what the considerations are for you as you think about products, locations, and particularly for products that you haven't even launched yet, how you kind of try and integrate that into optimization.
Well, and for this, we're primarily talking about what are our caps on a price code level, and we right now are kind of limited to those 26-ish price codes. So we're looking at where the inventory is located in those price codes to decide where we want to draw the line and decide which products make the most sense there. And some of it too is we want you to have to, for our most premium products, buy in at the membership level. But once we understood the yield that we can get from a partial plan, we started to open up more of that inventory. We could sell 30 games at a partial plan for the same yield as that season ticket membership. So we really look at the product level, what benefits come with it, and where are those seat locations located to figure out what that makes sense. And a lot of times it's in the upper bowl, we're gonna limit season ticket plans to really drive the yield that we can get on a single game ticket for those games.
Hi, thank you very much. I was looking at the importance of variable for renewals. When you talk about like tenure being very important, is that something you have on like a sliding scale? Like after maybe 5 years it drops 10 years, or is that something like kind of after 5 years you feel like they're pretty loyal? Like a 7-year is pretty similar to like 15.
Yeah, the biggest drop off is first years by far, and that's like a struggle across the board. It's changed slightly year to year. A safer zone is when you get above 3, or in some seasons it's been above 4. But the biggest drop is after your first year, and then once you get above 3 or 4, then it remains pretty consistent.
Thank you for your time. Quick question about the, I think it was the ticket buyback program with the Shaq retirement jersey, or jersey retirement night. You mentioned 50% increase in value. Is there a cap, or is there like a formula to determine, obviously the Shaq jersey retirement is a huge event, but say it's another game, do you push it to 50, 25, 10?
Yes, so traditionally you get 100% of the value back. Unless you return it the day before a game, then you get 50%. When we're looking at doing special promotions like this, we'll look to see what tickets are reselling for. So we'll look at our primary, how much have we increased prices over the season ticket member price, and then what's happening on the resale market too. Because the other thing to think about is our season ticket holders have the best seat location. So even if there are resales in the same price code, we're gonna have the better advantage for rows. So we will make the discount or the bonus across the board, but then we'll choose to only promote it to the price codes that we want back the most. So we don't want to upset everyone. Everyone is eligible, but we'll only outwardly promote it to those who have the most desirable seat locations based on resale and primary. Good question. All right, I think that's about it. So thank you guys.